Welcome to this week's Ask GMBN. I have got some great questions, and thank goodness we've got a great rider to answer the questions. Yep. Chris, when is he getting here?
Soon, I hope.
Chris Smith, you know lots about mountain biking, so you ready for some tough questions?
I'm ready, Mark. Let's get into it.
Magnus Bushby starting us off this week. We talked about the nuke-proof Scout last week and whether that was a good choice of bike. Definitely is. Magnus says, I'm vaguely looking at the Scout. I don't know how you vaguely look at a Scout. I'm vaguely looking at a Scout, but I'm 6'5". Do you think it would still be a good fit for me? Could an XL work? Yeah. Now, doesn't Doddy ride an XL?
He does ride an XL.
And he's 6'3".
Yeah.
And he says that's a good fit for him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think Doddy has actually gone down to the 27.5 wheels instead of the 29s that I usually ride. So bearing in mind that bike does come with both the 29 and 27.5. So if you are a bit bigger rider, maybe consider the 29er. But obviously, if you want a bit more playful bike, go for the 27.5.
Magnus, there you go. Go on.
I was gonna say, but it is quite a big bike. Like I've got one as well, and I'm 6'1", sort of 1.5, something like that. And I actually ride a medium just because I like it as a mess around bike. It's not a true cross country bike. But as you say, Doddy's on the XL, and I know he's loving it.
And wouldn't you be a bit like me? You'd go a slightly smaller frame, so you like a bit of trousiness, like I do. Yeah. Whereas Doddy likes the big old, big wheelbase. He loves the big wheelbase. Yeah. Okay. Next question is from Jamie Harris. Hi guys, I really want to get a new wheel set for my Caliber Boss Nut V2, but I'm not sure which wheels to get. I really want wheels that have a loud hub. Know what you're saying, but I'm not sure which ones are the loudest. That's cool when you're looking for the loudest one. Can you tell me some of the best options? Go on, what would you say? I love a loud hub.
Yeah, I love a loud hub. It sounds really cool, you know, when you're cruising for those jumps and stuff. But unfortunately, a loud hub usually comes at quite a price. You know, you're talking like quite a premium wheel set there. And, you know, off the top of my head, I think like Halo, Industry 9, who else?
The nuke-proof Horizon apparently is very loud. I can tell you Hope hubs, Hope Tech hubs are really loud. I've run them for years and years and years.
DT Swiss as well, they're quite good. But a nice little hack for you, I know what a lot of the guys do, especially on the Instagram hero Jasper Penton, he actually strips the grease out the free hub. Probably not a good idea for getting the longevity out the free hub, but it actually makes the hub a lot louder. You've got no grease in there, like quieting the pulls down, so it's a really, really loud hub, but probably not the best to do for like longevity of the bearings and stuff.
Yeah, I like that. That is a very cool trick. Isn't it funny as well, is that, like you said, like a really expensive wheel set can be really loud, but then there's also really expensive wheel sets coming out that are completely silent.
Yeah, some people hate that noise.
It's crazy. It's really crazy. But there you go, some good options for you.
Yeah, we've got Josh has got in contact. My riding buddies are saying I need to replace my tyres. I think they have a lot of life left though. So my question is, how do you know when a tyre is done and needs to be replaced? And he sent in a picture as well of the current condition of them. Whoa.
Yeah.
They do look pretty worn to me.
Pretty toasted. Yeah, I mean, when those side knobbles have kind of like cracked and they're folding off like that. Yeah, they're pretty worn. Good for practice runs probably. But you will notice a difference. You put a new tyre on, your grip is going to be significantly better.
It's more about the edges of the tyres as well. It's not so much how much deep depth is left in the tread. It's more about how aggressive the edge is. You know, as Mark said, if the edges are all blown off, you're going to get no grip. Especially is that like a rear tyre you got on there. It looks pretty scrubbed out to me. So you'd notice a lot better braking and turning if you did replace those tyres. But I'd say, I don't know, there's still quite a few rides left in there. Yeah,
some practice runs and definitely some skid practice, that's for sure. Right, Scott is saying, do you envy the guys over on EMBN, this dude, getting to ride all those cool e-bikes all the time? No, we don't, right? Because when they're not around, we just ride them anyway. We just take them out. I saw Neil Donoghue on one the other day.
Yeah, they're all sneakily riding behind the scenes. But
you definitely got some EMBN practice on one of our GMBN apprentices, Blake, the other day, actually. So let's have a little look at that, actually, some good action.
Welcome back, you beautiful people. Today we find ourselves in the streets in Bristol in the UK. We're out here on 2 different bikes to have a game of bike.
Yeah, we got one heavyweight bike, 23.5 kilo e-bike, 2.8 tyres. It's a bit of a monster on the street against Blake's machine. What you got, Blake?
Well, I've got my Canyon Torque. This is a 175mm travel bike. It's a big bike. It's like one of the big heavy hitters of enduro bikes out there. Well, yours is an e-bike.
Yeah, but we're going to go big on the streets today. So let's get into it?
Yes, over there.
Do it.
What the hell? Yo! Yes!
So Peter Toth's been in touch. I was wondering, aren't you guys afraid that the cam mounted on the chest will kill you when you fall on it? It looks pretty dangerous to me. For example, when you do an over-the-bars dismount.
Well, I hadn't worried about it until now. Yeah, well, I mean, isn't there kind of like an urban myth that like Michael Schumacher's injury when he was skiing is due to having some kind of helmet mount, camera mount on his helmet, and I don't know, that's just something I heard on the internet.
It is
that's
obviously,
all.
it's obviously quite a dodgy thing having that, because obviously any impact is just going to be localized in that area. So it could potentially break your sternum, and I'm sure there's people that it's happened to, but I think you'd be quite unlucky to die from it. And it's quite unlucky to actually fall like flat on your chest without getting your hands out as well. So it depends, you know, if you're prone to crashing, then maybe it's something you might want to consider running elsewhere. But I think if you're pretty dialed, it's quite a safe option. It always looks amazing on the videos as well.
Yeah,
so.
it does. Another really great price for a camera, I just think always looks, you get great footage and it looks super cool, is that under the peak position. Nice and safe. If you run a nice big full face helmet, you can just fit that little GoPro up under there. It looks rad.
But one thing that we were talking about in the office as well, Doddy has been trying out the mouth mounted. Have you seen that? Like a bike mount. Yeah. He said that is amazing, and literally if you're going to crash, you can just spit it out. No. So it gets
I'm not
away.
down with that one.
Maybe considering that. But it's gimbal like Doddy swears by.
No, I'm disagreeing with you on that one, right? Because surely if you crashed, you could smash your teeth clean out.
No, speak to Doddy.
I don't know about that one. Big disagreement in the dirt shed.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, let us know. Where's the best mount? Right, Paul is saying, my son, aged 9, has a specialised Rip Rock 24. Apart from having mechanical disc brakes, which will be hydraulic soon, it has a grip shift for the gearing. Can this be swapped out for a normal quick shift easily enough? With the grip shift, it's awkward for him to change gear on the trails. I tell you, I never got on with grip shift. No. I never got. It was always a bit of a puzzle, and I changed gear when I didn't want to change gear. And I'm sure when you're little and you've got your little hands like that, it must be easy to do. Can you change it out?
You can. It just depends who it's coming from. If it's a SRAM and it's a bit of an older system, they do a different cable pull. So it's like I think it's a 1-to-1 like actuation on the gear pull. But if it's a Shimano system, you should be able to just swap the grip shift unit out and replace it with like a trigger style shifter, so not a problem with that. Just stick some new cables in and you'll be all good to go.
Yeah, and when you get round to that, changing those cables, here's a little guide on how to do it.
This is the GMBN Tech Essentials series, our easy to follow series on maintaining and looking after your bike. Now, although the transmission and drivetrain of your bike does look quite complicated, it's actually pretty simple when you take a good look at it. Now, in last week's video, we took a look at the derailleurs on a bike and the shifter, trying to take the complication out of it and just show you how they worked. This time around, we're looking at everything you need to know about cables, how to replace them, how to get them to the correct length, and how to adjust them once they're in place.
Right, next up, we have got a question from Tom. He's looking to buy a downhill bike, but he wants it to be a bit of an all-rounder as well, okay? Right. So he's really going to be pushing the boundaries of what a downhill bike can do, because he wants to ride it on normal bike parks. He also wants to do some jumps and some tricks and stuff. Big ask for a downhill bike. He's looking at the Cube 215 SI, which is a very nice bike. Got some good bits on it, but only comes with 29-inch wheels. Right, he's worried about the wheel size. Can you do the nimble stuff, like tricks and jumps on a 29er, or should he be looking at a bike with a 27.5? So it's that old question, Chris, wheel size.
It's a bit of both really. Like I think on paper the 27.5 wheel is going to be a bit more nimble and will allow you to chuck the bike around, but I see a lot of the new school guys now, Josh Bryceland, Jasper Penton, they're all on 29ers now at the Cannondale Habit, and you see the shapes that those guys can put on those bikes, and in turn they're riding even faster on the trails they ride. So if you want fast and like an in-between sort of nimble-ish bike, then the 29er will be fine, but if you want an out-and-out trick machine, then I'd go for a 27.5.
But Chris, right, I would raise you the downhill bit of that question, because the Habit isn't a downhill bike. It's like that all-mountain trail. It's more enduro. And I would say the downhill bike, if you're thinking about wheel size and trying to keep the bike nimble because you want to do lots of things on it, you could be looking at a 29er, but are you looking at the wrong type of bike?
Possibly.
I don't know if not many people need a downhill bike these days.
And not many people can chuck a downhill bike around as much as, you know, what you said.
You see those downhill races throw those bikes around, you're like, oh, I want to get with them. That looks easy. You get on it, you're like, oh my, what is this thing? Because they're so weird when they're riding along on flat ground, because the front end's up here.
Slack head angle.
They're designed to go downhills like that. Maybe. So I'd think about the bike again, but if you're a downhill racer and you are looking for a nimble downhill bike, then I don't know if it's in the wheel size you're going to find it.
No, I don't know. Maybe, bike choice and wheel size, to have a look at both.
Yeah, that's a good question. I like that one. That got us right in there, didn't it? That got us right in there. Right, Ryan Mitchell, he's saying, I've been riding motocross since the early 1990s, as have we, and have decided to hang up the Alpine Star boots. Say it ain't so. Don't do it. I've sold the Honda and bought a Canyon Strive, let you off. And begin to enjoy life as a novice mountain biker. My question is to Neil.
He's not here. Oh, scrap
we'll have to do. Is there anything I can take from my experience as an intermediate motocross rider and carry it across to my new world of mountain biking? For example, riding position, riding ruts, braking technique, etc. I'm 44. I need to learn quick. I know the feeling, man. Any tips would be great. Well, we've both got enough motorcycle experience to answer this, for sure.
I think one thing you will be really good at is reading speed and like reading terrain fast. You know, with a motocross bike, you're getting used to scanning the ground first, so that's something you should be really good at already. You know, looking out for stuff, picking lines. You should be pretty bang on with your braking, and it's more about flow, I think, because obviously from a motocross bike, you get a lot of assist from the engine. It's quite easy just to come out of a corner and give it a load of throttle. But on a mountain bike, you need to like look ahead and plan where you're carrying your momentum and speed. I think that's quite key. It's quite different.
I think that's a good point, because one thing you're definitely going to notice is you haven't got that engine braking, which on a motocross bike is huge, and you really use it so often, because it's such a subtle way to come into a corner and just boom, hit that engine braking. You haven't got that on the mountain bike. So when you're coming into a corner, you've got to hold that speed as much as you can. And crucially, you haven't got that power out of the corner that you'll be used to. So it's almost got to look at the corners the other way around a little bit. Carrying the speed in so you've got the speed going out. Okay, Elias is asking, are there any bike bags that fit two bikes? I have a gravel bike and an MTB. I'd like to take both of them along for a trip. Chris, what do you think? Advice?
Good question. I think it's a super hard thing to do, traveling with bikes anyway, especially if you're flying. You know, I've been dragging 3 bike bags around in airports and stuff, and I think I managed to fit 3 bikes in 1 bike bag. That's my record, but the paintwork didn't look too good at the other end, I can tell you. But something you might want to consider is just getting a standard bike bag and then like a sports bag. So you might be able to fit both your frames in each part of the bike bag, and then distribute the parts like into like a sports bag, because that way you're not going to get that full charge for a big bike bag. So you might get away with, say, forks, bars, components in a sports bag, 2 bike frames in the other one, and then build them up on location.
Yeah, that's a good idea, that one. That is a good idea. So you want to do it, take 2 bikes, that might be the way to go. Right, next question from Javed says, hi guys, I have a Polygon XC Trail Hardtail. I'm thinking of going to the Megavalanche 2019 Enduro with my bike. What do you think? Man, that is a tough race at the best of times.
I've done the Mega once before, and it was literally the hardest race I think I've ever done. But we did it in super deep snow. I don't recall there being any or many at all hardtail, any hardtails actually there. And it is super, super technical, like the last part. It is really, really fast. if you did take a hardtail, I would be prepared for an absolute battering, and I'd be taking, if you're not tubeless, I'd be taking about 20-inch tubes because that terrain is super, super gnarly.
Yeah, Blake did go to Megavalanche and race. I'm going to show you a clip of that in a moment, but he did say that there was someone there on a hardtail,
Really?
maybe a few, but I remember him mentioning one guy and he said he had a mega hard time. He looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
So hey, let's take a look at Blake racing the Megavalanche, and let's all ponder on whether that hardtail would work.
I'm nervous. Right, I'm out here in Alpe d'Huez to take part in something that I want to tick off on my bucket list, and that is entering the Megavalanche. It's a downhill race, it's a marathon really. It starts at 3,330 meters and drops down to 720 down Almond Valley. It's super loose, man.
Okay, time for Correct Me If I'm Wrong, and our, victim this week is Mohammed on his polygon at Blackwater Gravity Park in Indonesia. This is Mohammed's first go at a step up, Chris.
Okay.
See if you can see what he does wrong, and then give us a bit of advice as how to correct it on his next attempt. Here he comes. Whoa. Nice bit of POV.
Yeah.
Lovely looking takeoff. And did you see the landing go by?
Yeah, I did see it disappear.
Yeah. Here it is from another angle.
Whoa, it's got some
Come
good
on,
speed.
Mohammed.
Whoa, oh my God.
Talk us through that, Chris. How can we correct that? What happened?
I think he's just basically just way too fast. You got a huge run up for that jump, so I think by the looks of that you could almost half that run up speed and just come in nice and slow. You've also like not popped up, like a step up's designed to travel up and then onto the landing, whereas you've sort of just gone straight through it. So less speed but pull up more, so you're going to change the trajectory of the takeoff, so you get, as I say, up and into it, and half the speed. I think you'd be pretty much there.
Yeah, it's a lovely looking jump.
It is,
really, it does look
nice.
really cool. So I'm sure once you get it, it'll be super fun.
Yeah. So just go on the edge. You know, it wouldn't even hurt to go slower and even case that jump. You know, just tag the back wheel and then just build it up. You know, if you're tagging just, then you need to add, say, 6 foot or a few meters run up to it. Just adjust your speed. A bit more pop. Should see you fine.
Very nice. Hell of a show this week.
Really cool.
Loved it. Thanks for joining us, Chris.
No
nice
worries.
to see you in the dirt shed.
Thanks for having me, Matt. As always, love it.
We'll look forward to more of your questions. You can just leave them in the comments section down below. Hashtag AskGMBN. Ask us anything you like.
Anything.
Yeah, absolutely. If you've got to correct me if I'm wrong, then head over to our uploader where you can upload a video and give us a little bit of information about what you'd like to correct. If you'd like to see a really great video, then why don't you check out the Andes Pacifico run through from Blake and Neil just here. Fabulous looking video. Over there's the Patagonia trip, which
really
looks incredible too. What's this old button here for, Chris?
You gotta click that globe to subscribe to GMBN to make sure you don't miss out on any of the awesome content that we do.
Yeah.
But that's it for this week, Matt.
It is. Give us a
Cool.
thumbs
Thumbs
up.
up.
See you next time.